Hi, I'm Cindy LeBlanc. We're going to show you today how to do the Walmart mapping of departments 2, 40, and 46. We're going to take you through the layout and take you through how to do it, and hopefully you'll better understand by the time that we're done today. Right here I've already gone ahead and drawn out my layout. This is from the blank layout that we received. I went ahead and just got my bearings about me and I drew it out. Right here is the front of the store. Over here I drew the pharmacy. Wanted to make sure I captured where the Action Alley is, the main aisle, and then across from pharmacy and Action Alley is seasonal. Then I went across and I counted my aisles and I drew them out. And this is what we're going to fill in. You can use this as a scratch sheet, and then when you get home, maybe write it a little neater. You're going to make mistakes, as I've already done on this first page. You're going to want to make it neater because this will be the page that you upload to your portal. So you might want to do it on another piece of paper when you get home. What you want to also have with you is your all-important department number, category number, and subcategory sheet. Department numbers are 2, 40, and 46, and then it lists all the subcategories we're going to be doing today. And what you're going to be doing is, we can't focus in on this, but on your paperwork it tells you on your tag what your department number is and what your subcategory is. And that is what you're going to be mapping out on your paper. Alright, I have located the very first section here on my aisle G3. It is Department 40, subsection 170. And now I'm going to count across to see how many sections it is. Each section is 4 feet. So this is 4 feet, 8 feet, and the next section is again 170, so that's 12 feet. And then this goes into another category. I'm going to write on my layout the 12 feet, department number 40, and the subcategory 170. That's what we just counted. The 3 4-foot sections of the gondola equals 12 feet. Then you're going to add your last section over here, which is again Department 40. This subcategory is 62, and it's only a 4-foot section. So you're going to add that here. And that is all you would do for aisle G3. And that's it. Continue on to the next. When you're done with both sides of the gondola, you want to check your math. Each gondola should equal the total on both sides. This gondola on this side is 16 feet, and there were 2 8-foot sections on the other side, which equals 16. This way you make sure that you've captured everything correctly. Not every gondola is going to be the same footage as you go, but on the left side and the right side they should equal the same. Alright, we're going to go from this section that we just completed over to this section of the gondola. What you want to make sure is that you are writing it directly across from the item that you just completed. That subcategory was 62. So directly across from 62, I'm going to put down Department 40, subcategory 150, and this is a 4-foot section, and this is a 4-foot section, and that's it. So a total of 8 feet for department category 150. Okay, and I'm capturing again. The very last one is 8 feet. Now I'm going to snake around to the other side. One of the things you want to do with your paper is turn it. So you're making sure you're backing up to the aisle on the other side so you don't accidentally write it the wrong way. So on the other side of this, number 410 would be my 160 that I just wrote. So this 410, Department 40, is 1, 2 4-feet section. So that would be 8 feet total. At the end of this aisle, I want to show you an eyeglass case that's different than you might see in your store, so we're going to talk about that in a minute. Here's another section, 415. So that's a 4-foot section. And then the last 4-foot section is 61. Don't forget your department number, so it's 40-61. And at the end, again, I'm at the end of doing 2 back-to-back gondolas, or 2 sides of the gondola. I'm going to add it up. The other side is 2 sections of 8, that's 16, and this one has 3 sections that equal 16, so we're good on this side. This is the category I was talking about that is considered a tower in some stores, or an end cap. This store does not have the tower, but on our handy-dandy little checklist here, we realize that there are a couple of things that we need to make sure we have. And we've checked our tag right here to see if this is just a temporary display, and it is not. It has a permanent home location It says Department 40, subcategory 905, and it matches on our checklist. So we know this is the reading glass section they want us to count. I drew it out on here as an end cap at the end of the aisle directly across from pharmacy. All right, now I've come down around to the back side of the pharmacy. This is like an alcove. Pharmacy is around the corner over there. And there's a section over here we need to capture. And the way I checked that again was with our handy dandy checklist, looking at the tag and making sure these are permanent locations. And this is a category we need to check. And this is Department 2, category 85. And we would mark this 4-foot section down on our paper here. And then the trial size section is also part of the category 2, subcategory 360, and that's 8 feet of that. One of the things we need to make sure that we mark on our mapping is any breaks in the gondolas, even though this is not in the middle of the aisle, anything intrusive to sales. They want to know where these are. These are fire exit doors. I'm going to mark it on my gondola, on my layout for my gondola, and then continue the layout going this way. And then we'll start marking after that. So they know that there's a break in the gondola, and that was one of the things on your instructions. Okay, we're back at that back wall where the fire doors are. We're at this back gondola, and we are capturing this section here, which is the Department 2, subcategory 10, and there's 3 sections. And then what I wanted to point out was it jumps from Department 2 right into Department 46. So we want to make sure that you understand not to forget to look at your department numbers. Even though you're looking at these subcategories, write the department number and the subcategory down. After you capture that this is a Department 46, subcategory 550, which is the suntan, you'll notice right over here it goes into something we're not capturing, which is seasonal. This one happens to be pool. So we don't have to write that. All we would write is it goes into seasonal. Hey, this is the last aisle we're going to capture. This is our Department 2. This is section 212, subsection. When I go around the corner here, you'll see why. There's nothing else we're going to capture. You go right into holiday. So we are done with our mapping. What we need to do now is take our pictures, go back through this, double check, do our math, and do all the checks to make sure we've got everything captured, and we'll do that in our next segment. One of the things you might run into in your store is a flex space within the aisle or the gondola. And I wanted to show you what flex space could look like. This is an end cap of flex, but your aisle might have it right in the middle of 2 8-foot sections. It's anything that is not a permanent home. It will not have a department number and a subcategory. It might have a clearance sticker. It might have been a seasonal item they're just having leftover of, or it might have been an on-pack, and they'll give it flex space in there. What you would do is count that 4-foot section if it's in the aisle and write flex, not to label everything that's there. Here's an example of a modular item that is on an end cap, and you might run into this, so I want to point this out. If the end caps have tags on it, you want to look at the tag again for the department number and for the subcategory. This one happens to be Department 40, subcategory 420, and it's on our checklist. This is a 4-foot section. Again, I would draw it at the end of the aisle so they know that this is in the section. All right, we are done doing our mapping. We've gone through, we've checked everything, we've added all of our numbers up, our gondolas all add up. We've gone through and looked at every end cap to make sure there were no other permanent home locations, and now it's time to take our pictures. We need to take a picture of each side of the end cap from the back and from the front. From the back and from the front. So you're going to have a lot of pictures that you're going to need to upload when you're done. So here I go. Try to get as much of a clear shot as you can. You don't need to get the end caps in. And then I'm going to walk to the other end. And I'm going to turn over here and take this picture here. When you upload your photos, you don't need to worry about what order, just as long as they're listed with that store number and uploaded with that project number. Okay, so we're all done. Now we've taken our photos and we're ready to go. What I want to say to you is one thing that you're going to feel a little frustrated is the mapping is the hardest part of this. It's not really hard to figure out what you're doing and where you're going and how to read it, but it's actually the drawing of it out. Make sure you take good notes on here, because if you do decide to go home and do any neat work, you have to make sure you have everything captured on here, because you're not going to be able to come back. So make sure you take your notes, or even go to the restaurant here, grab a soda, sit down and draw it out. It is the hardest part of the job, but accuracy is really what we're looking for. Thank you for taking on this project.